Alright, YouTube, this is Jesse here with Iowa Audio Review for another video. I'm kind of down in my lab dungeon basement area where I like to work on this kind of stuff. And no, it's not my mom's basement, it's my basement, I promise. But anyway, these are the tower speakers I had mentioned in a previous video or videos that belong to a friend of mine. Oh, they're probably around 15 years old now. Back when we were in, I think, 10th grade in Woods class. It's been many years, but we each had built a set of tower speakers. Mine, I don't know, I don't have them anymore. They were gone a long time ago. He still has his, obviously, but through many moves, and now he has a son. They just get into a point where they're not as good as they used to be. So he's handed them off to me to kind of go through them and kind of get them back to a good working order again. And kind of just a rundown. They're made of solid oak, and yeah, not particle board veneer. It's actual 3/4 inch oak, and it's a Dayton 1 1/8 silk dome, soft dome tweeter, and then this is a VIFA, I believe, a 6.5 inch woofer, this is the one out of the other one right here. I can kind of see it. I know my camera angle isn't very good. I'm using my cell phone for now. In the future, try to get something else where you can see a little better. But yeah, these are a VIFA TC18SG49, which I don't know. I don't think they make this one anymore. I think Peerless took over VIFA. I'm not 100% sure. Either way, they're still in good order. They're just dirty and kind of beat up. They need to be cleaned up a little bit. But other than that, they work fine. Still good speaker. We got to get rid of this black silicone sticky crap that Parts Express sells as a speaker sealant. I mean, it works, but I think it's overkill and it's kind of a mess. It's kind of annoying shit. Take a razor blade. When we get to this step, we'll be going through and scraping all this crap off, because I do have some I mean, I used to use this stuff back in the day too, before I knew better. Now I use a very narrow weather stripping that goes on a lot better. Then grab a drill here, pull the tweeter out. I'm going to try and stay back so you guys can see everything that's going on, but I hope that black stuff isn't, this black caulk isn't behind the tweeter as well. Oh yeah, yeah it is. At least it feels like it. Oh no, good. Tweeter has its own gasket. Excellent. We'll just take him out. I may even replace the wire in these. I don't know if you can see it very well or not. There's some areas underneath the clear coating here. You can see there's a green oxidation, I believe it is, forming on the wire, which I don't know if it really will hinder performance or anything a whole lot, but I kind of want to redo this with heavier wire. This is probably, I'm assuming, 18 gauge, which is probably fine, but since we're doing an overhaul here, we might as well get rid of this skinny stuff and go up to like a 16 or 14 gauge wire. And then yeah, you can see here, Dayton Loudspeaker Co. No model number. Well, no model number. So yeah, Dayton soft dome tweeter. And then these are the crossovers that were in his. And I don't even know what crossover point these are, because they don't have a sticker left on them. These were initially Velcroed in. I'll get to that in a second, but I want to say these are 2,500 or 3,000. I think. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe later on after we get them going, hooked up, we can figure that out. But yeah, those are second order, 12 decibel per octave, whatever. Pre-made crossovers you can get from Parts Express. They're good crossovers. If you don't want to build your own, you can just buy those. Let's see. I don't know if you can kind of see down in there. There's a board, a support board. It goes across the middle here, and then there's a gap in the back. On both of them, the boards had come unglued and fallen down, which this crossover, I don't know if you'll be able to see in there or not. Get it down in there, but the crossover, actually, where's my headlamp? Oh, there it is. So we can get this shine down in there. Yeah, the crossover is Velcro to that board there in the middle. And that board had come unglued and fallen down, and mostly because of he's moved several times, and the speakers get moved around a lot, and everything was kind of falling down inside there, and was just dangling and hanging, and they were starting to crackle because I think one of the wires on one of the speakers was starting to get pulled off, and so that will have to be. I'm not going to use this Velcro. Well, this piece was sticky. The other piece, I don't know what you want to call this, the male side of the Velcro, whatever. This side wasn't very sticky. It peeled right off the board. Here. That crap off, and maybe we'll get some good two-sided adhesive or something. Because I was going to screw it to the board in there, but the board in there must, when he assembled these in Woods class, he must have put the board in while assembling them, because it does not fit out the woofer hole. So you can't get it out of there. So, and I can't get a drill in there to put this on there and screw it to the board. So I'm just going to use some two-sided adhesive or something and just stick it on there real good. And then we'll do all new wiring. Now you can see right there, this spade right here has been bent, probably from it hanging down, maybe being pulled on. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it came that way. Get that straightened up. And moving forward, the other reason is through time, the wood has expanded and contracted, and you form these cracks here, which are probably a mix between the pieces not being all cut perfectly and fitting together perfectly, and the wood, I don't think, has been sealed very well, so through hot and cold and moist and dry, the wood has swollen and contracted over the years, and it's started to pull apart. So then, I mean, it's got this going on the top and bottom, so we're going to have to fill all this in with glue, because the other interesting thing about these, where I'm not sure why we did it this way or how we landed on this, but these were done with something that ScanSpeak used to do or still does, I don't know. We got these off Parts Express, of course, because that's like where you get all this kind of shit. But the idea of this is it's called a periodic vent, and the idea behind it is you get the characteristics of a sealed enclosure and the characteristics of a vented enclosure. Basically, this goes in this hole, and I don't know, I don't remember how we figured it out, but it gives you a cubic volume size to use and how many vents per cubic feet to use. And with this volume, it was a periodic vent. And basically what this does is it won't let any air out, but the sound waves can pass through this like fiberglass paper material. So I don't know, it was so long ago, I don't remember how these sounded or really even if they worked. But yeah, ideally you get a sealed enclosure with vented sound, or with a ported enclosure sound. So we got to get those back in. More of this sticky crap. It's got to come off. And then I don't know why he used the spring terminals. I used binding posts on mine. I mean, these worked for a while, but I think we're past that. And binding posts are not expensive. I think I paid like $3 or $4 for these ones off of eBay or Amazon, and they'll work just fine. And they're too much crap down here. I gotta get this stuff cleaned up. And a bunch of these things laying around too. These I like them because they're actually deep enough so your banana plug fits all the way. I know some of these that are really cheap, which I'll show you later on some other stuff I'm going to review. These cheap binding posts, sometimes they're not very deep, and the binding post only going about, or the banana plug will only go in about halfway, which is kind of silly because then it doesn't really stay in there very well. Where these, even though I would say they're budget binding posts, actually fit in there nice and snug. And these will where's the other one? Whoops, it's late and I'm clumsy. We'll go in there kind of like that. You can see they're plenty, the studs are plenty long for the thickness of the wood, and we'll probably, the thickness of the wood, probably mount them down here below. And I'm just going to leave this in here because if I take it out, then I got to put something in the hole, and I'd rather not. So we'll just leave those in there, and they just won't be connected to anything. I think that's about it. I can step back. I don't know if you guys can see the whole darn things or not. They're about this tall. Actually, I have a tip measure. Let's see, 36 on the money by 8 by 12, and I could run some maths, figure out the volume of these. I don't remember what the volume is. I'm gonna assume probably about 2 cubic feet. Yeah, I think this one's the same thing. Oh yeah, all split open, and this one's even the wood cracked all the way through, right where the screw went in. And you can see, well, I can see, I don't know if you can see, but this front board, or the front baffle, is actually kind of bowing. The screw in the middle here versus these outside boards has created, when he screwed this in, it pulled it in and kind of cupped the front board. And over time, I think the wood gave, because right where the screws are, it cracked. The wood cracked. Which, the fix I'm doing right now is not an end-all fix. It's a basically get glue in all these cracks just to kind of help hold it. I'll probably just leave this alone because smearing a thin layer of glue over that crack's not going to do shit. But the end-all would be to just take these drivers out and just build them into like a decent set of bookshelves. But that's probably going to be something for down the road. This is more just a temporary get them going again, whatever, so you can listen to music on them. Because even though the insides were falling down and rattling, even though they did work, he had to take the periodic vents out, because with them in there, it was creating pressure and making air noise through all the little cracks in it, which was really annoying. And then with the periodic vent out, just having that big hole there is obviously way out of spec for the speaker versus the cabinet, and etc., etc. So I think for now, I got some Gorilla Glue. I don't even know if it's open yet. Oh yeah. I think I'm gonna squirt some glue down in there. You know what? This will be easier. I'll just sit it on the floor. And I hope you guys can see this. And I know some of the other videos you can't see very well, but to kind of do what I need to do, it's just the way it's got to be. Down the road here, if things go well, I'll invest in a wide angle lens or camera, GoPro or something. Any residual extra glue, once it's done and dried, I'll just take some sandpaper and sand it off. And main thing right now, I just want to get these cracks filled up. And I'm sure there's other ways to do this, but really kind of pack it in there. Boop. And I mean, I know even getting glue down these cracks will probably help hold it together a little bit, but not enough to where the wood going through temperature changes that this little bit of glue is going to stop it from flexing. All this is really doing right now is sealing them up again. I mean, we'll get the glue on there now, and you can see right now it looks like it's filling up all the cracks, but as it sits and it runs further down the crack, you might have to do this all over again later. Make sure all those cracks are full. If I could see inside of it better, maybe if I flip it upside down and pull the Acoustifoam out, and maybe I could get a bead of glue on the inside. I don't know. If I can get it to seal from the outside, I think that'll be fine for now. Because again, I think as time goes on, these cabinets are just going to keep warping and twisting, and the end-all solution is going to just to be pull the drivers and crossovers out and build new boxes. All right, we'll set this guy up here. I don't think there was any. I think these are all fine on the sides. So I know heat on the inside. You can't see it because of the Acoustifoam, but there is a bead of liquid nail or something that runs along these on the inside. So I think it's mostly just the bottom. Holy crap. Yeah, bottom top, there's a bunch of wood putty in there, so initially that didn't fit very well. Oh my goodness. In this case, I'm not going to use glue because it's not thick enough. It'll just run right through the crack on the inside. So on the bottom here, I'm going to use some liquid nail. Try and fill these all up with liquid nail. Alrighty. Where do we even want to begin? Oh, my daughter's upset about something. She sounds real mad. And the same thing is with the wood glue. All this extra liquid nail that's left over, I'll just take some sandpaper and sand it off. Because once all the gluing's done, I do have, I don't know if you can see it up there, some Minwax wood finish. And we'll sand them down and go over it with some new wood finish. Kind of make them glow again. Oh yeah. Just fill that crack with some cream. Anyway, whoop. Wow. I better hurry up and get this done. Go see what's wrong up there. I'm sure anyone watching this that has kids knows what I mean. I don't know if you guys can hear it or not, but I can hear my daughter upstairs upset about something. She's really going to town. Alright, that looks fine for now. Okay, so basically, yeah, this first part of this video here, just getting these cracks all glued shut and sealed up, and we'll see how this wood glue on the top dries, and as long as everything goes well, I'll keep moving on to the next step. But until then, we're just gonna have to wait for this to dry, and then we'll move on.